The knock came at a time when the world usually stays quiet, when regrets feel louder than traffic and memories refuse to sleep. I remember staring at my front door, confused and half awake, my heart already uneasy for reasons I couldn't explain. When I opened it, the porch light revealed a face I never expected to see again. My friend's mother, standing there in the cold, eyes wet, shoulders tense, whispering words that instantly changed the air between us. She looked at me like someone standing on the edge of a cliff and said she shouldn't be here, but she was. And in that moment, before I even understood why, I knew my life was about to shift in ways I never planned for. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one moment can change everything, please take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still healing. I hadn't seen her in years, not since the night everything fell apart between me and her son, my closest friend growing up. We had shared childhoods, scraped knees, school lunches, dreams that felt endless back then. His mother had always been a calm presence in the background of those memories, warm smiles, gentle discipline, quiet strength. Seeing her now, years later, felt like seeing a ghost from a life I had already buried. She looked older, thinner, and tired in a way that came not from age but from carrying too much alone. I invited her inside without thinking, my body reacting before my mind could catch up, because some instincts never leave you, no matter how much time passes. The house was small, still smelling faintly of instant coffee and the cheap detergent I used, a reflection of the life I had built after everything went wrong. She stood in the living room, hands clasped tightly together, as if afraid the walls might judge her. I offered her tea, something to sit on, something to hold, because silence had started to grow heavy. I could feel questions pounding in my chest, but I didn't ask them yet. Some moments demand patience, and this was one of them. She looked around slowly, noticing the mismatched furniture, the photos on the shelf, the quietness of a home lived in by someone who had learned not to expect much. I felt exposed in a way I hadn't in years. Her presence dragged up memories I thought I had made peace with. Nights of laughter, the sound of her son's voice, the day we stopped speaking, the misunderstandings that turned into pride, the pride that turned into distance. I had always told myself that life simply moved on, that people drift apart, but seeing her standing there reminded me that some threads never truly break. When she finally spoke again, her voice shook, not with fear but with guilt. She explained that she hadn't planned to come, that she had driven past my street 3 times before stopping, that every instinct told her to turn around. Yet something stronger than fear had pulled her to my door. Her life, she said, had been unraveling quietly for years. Her marriage had collapsed under the weight of silence and resentment. Her son, my former best friend, had moved far away, emotionally and physically, chasing a version of himself that no longer had room for her. She had been left behind in a house full of echoes, surrounded by people but deeply alone. Listening to her, I felt an uncomfortable mix of compassion and unresolved pain. Part of me wanted to shut down, to protect myself from old wounds reopening. Another part remembered the woman who used to make extra food just in case I stayed for dinner, who once sat beside me when my own parents were too busy fighting to notice I was hurting. Life has a strange way of circling back, of placing people in your path again when you least expect it, often when both of you are broken in new ways. She admitted that she had followed my life from a distance, asking mutual acquaintances how I was doing, feeling relief when she heard I was surviving. She said she had wanted to reach out before, many times, but shame always stopped her. Shame for things she hadn't said, for sides she had taken without listening, for letting silence grow where understanding should have lived. Those words landed heavier than anger ever could. I realized then that we were both carrying versions of the same regret, shaped differently but aching in familiar places. I told her about my own struggles, though not all at once. About the jobs that didn't last, the nights spent questioning my worth, the loneliness that came with choosing peace over pride. I told her how losing her son as a friend had left a hole I never quite filled, how sometimes I still caught myself wanting to call him when something good or bad happened. Speaking these truths out loud felt like tearing open an old scar, but also like letting fresh air into a wound that had never properly healed. As the hours passed, the tension slowly softened. The storm outside quieted, rain tapping gently against the windows like a reminder that time doesn't stop, even when we do. She told me she didn't come asking for forgiveness, not directly, but for honesty. She wanted to know if she had failed, if she had broken something beyond repair. I didn't have a simple answer. Life rarely offers those. But I told her that people do the best they can with what they know at the time, and sometimes the cost of learning is losing someone you love. Something shifted after that. It wasn't dramatic or sudden, but subtle, like a knot loosening. She didn't look as afraid anymore. I didn't feel as guarded. We were two people acknowledging that pain doesn't disappear just because time passes, and that facing it together, even briefly, can lighten its weight. She stayed longer than either of us expected, sharing stories not just of loss, but of small moments of joy she had forgotten how to notice. I realized how rarely anyone had truly listened to her in years. In the days that followed, her visit stayed with me. I found myself thinking about forgiveness, not the kind that erases the past, but the kind that allows you to breathe again. We started meeting occasionally for coffee, careful at first, like walking on cracked ice. But slowly, trust rebuilt itself in quiet ways. She didn't try to replace what was lost between me and her son. Instead, she became something unexpected in my life, a reminder that connection can take new forms, that family isn't always defined by blood or history, but by showing up when it matters most. There were challenges, of course. Some days the past felt too close, old emotions resurfacing without warning. I struggled with guilt, wondering if reconnecting with her meant betraying unresolved feelings toward her son. She struggled with her own fear of overstepping, of needing too much. But we learned to talk through it, awkwardly at first, then with more ease. Healing isn't smooth or predictable. It's a series of small, brave choices made over and over again. One evening, months later, she admitted that coming to my door that night had saved her in ways she hadn't known she needed. She had been standing at the edge of something dark, feeling invisible and unnecessary. Being welcomed, even with uncertainty, had reminded her that she still mattered. Hearing that shook me. I had thought she came needing something from me, but I realized we had both been quietly rescuing each other from isolation. If this story is touching something inside you right now, if it's reminding you of someone you lost touch with or a door you were afraid to knock on, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and let us know in the comments. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who might need the same reminder. Before the ending, I want to ask you something special. Please comment the words, "Second chances matter," if you believe that it's never too late to reconnect, to forgive, or to begin again. The last time she came over, the house felt different, warmer, fuller. We laughed, not out of politeness, but from a place of genuine comfort. I realized then that life doesn't always give us the endings we expect, but sometimes it offers something quieter and just as meaningful. A chance to heal sideways, through unexpected people and moments. A chance to learn that showing up, even when you think you shouldn't, can change everything. When she left that night, the door closing softly behind her, I stood there for a long time, feeling something rare and precious settle in my chest. Hope. Not the loud, unrealistic kind, but the steady belief that broken things can still be useful, that hearts can make room again. And I knew that the knock I once feared had become one of the most important sounds of my life, reminding me that sometimes, the people who shouldn't be there are exactly the ones we need the most.